Oh my God, here we go. Battle Rap Chris, battlerap.com, Chicago with Pocahontas.
Yo, man, I'm still the same guy. I was experiencing new things.
Let's start. This is going to be like kind of a recap of the last 6 months. We last spoke to you.
6 months.
Oh, it's
shit.
going to be a big one. We're going to touch on a few things. Last time we got to sit down with you and talk at length, we had a really nice one at the end of 2014. So this is kind of the midway of the year. So let's talk about that. It seems like one of the biggest themes in battle rap right now is expansion. With every league finding new spaces. King of the Dot's heading to the East Coast, URL is heading to the West Coast, and you're heading everywhere in between, it feels like. So first of all, tell me kind of what was the impetus to come into the States and to come to the specific locations that you're visiting?
I genuinely don't know what the word impetus means.
The genesis, the creation, the idea of...
The reason.
Yeah.
Exactly. Ask me again and say reason.
In this interview, I teach her new words. Impetus is not like a hard word.
I think impotence. I was like, there was no impotence that led me to America. It's just like, that's a different problem. Let's deal with that later. But, okay, no. The reason. What's the reason I came here?
Yeah. What was the drive to bring you here?
Because like, I think as I said when we spoke last time, there's only so much you can do in the UK, and we have done everything. Like, and I intend wholeheartedly to continue doing that. But if every single, without fail, major city we have done an event in, and I mean probably the 10, 20 cities we have been now over the last 5 years. We've done the crowds, we've done whatever, and it's just like this America shit. It just opens up doorways that never could be possible if we just stuck in England. You know what I mean?
So is this a new challenge that you wanted to go in on, or is it it's just a new market that you want to tap into?
I probably wouldn't say I wanted the challenge, because actually the challenge of it is the most concerning part of it. You know what I mean? Like, take yesterday, we sold on the last 2 days. We sold a lot of
yesterday at the Chicago event we're talking about.
At Chicago, we sold a lot of tickets in 48 hours, which I was wow, this is great. So, but before that period, I had no idea if there was going to be 50 people there or 500, you know what I mean? And it turned out it was packed out.
How many people, did you get a door count?
Yeah, it would have been between, I'd say it's about 250.
Yeah.
Which I'm saying, and I honestly, I would have been happy with 100. Like, that's always, 100 people is a great crowd. But as I said, 48 hours before the event, I did not know if it was going to be 50, 500,000, whatever. And then by the day of the event, I was like, wow, we've suddenly sold a shitload of tickets. And yeah, I'd say it was about 250. So yeah, it was great. Like, but as I said, that's the challenge. That's not actually fun at all. The worrying and the like having to promote, and we have to obviously design the promotional pictures for the MCs and shit. It's not fun. It's just work, innit? You know what I mean?
And especially to do that for an event that is completely in the dark. It's at least, as you mentioned, you've done it so much in England that you know what to expect and what kind of crowds will be there and what kind of MCs will put on. But these are guys, a lot of them you haven't met before. A lot of them you hadn't heard of 3 months ago.
But people at the event yesterday, there was people at the event yesterday who were battling at Detroit next week, who were coming up to me and being like, oh, yo, what's up? And obviously I was doing the whole thing you do when someone talks to you and you don't know them, and I was like, oh, cool, what's up, man? Like, and they were like, oh, you don't recognize me, you've booked me for Detroit. And I was saying, that's how my knowledge is so far down, because people, we were just talking about this earlier, how different people look in real life to YouTube. I mean, there was yesterday, 4 of the battles yesterday, I'd never met either of the opponents. And then in Detroit, we have 8 battles, and I've never met 6 of the battles. So about 12 of the people I've never met and only seen on a tiny screen. So it's a big lucky dip of what might work and what might not, do you know what I mean? So, but it's still good though.
Let's talk a little bit about, because you're booking so many of these events around North America, it seems like you're doing a lot of tryouts, you're looking for a lot of new talent, and as we've seen across all of battle rap, it's hard to find new talent. And I guess the concept is, or the question is, with so many battles that you're kind of throwing together without much knowledge about who these guys are and if they'll be good or not. When they're not, I've noticed that you don't seem to vault battles, and you seem to be dropping them all on the main page. Is that going to be consistent throughout?
No. I'd say, you know, me and the rest of the team have already spoken about this because, okay, I know what you mean with the previous events. There's only been one event or whatever at a time. So if there is, say there's 8 battles and 7 of them are banging and one of them is mediocre, of course, out of, I suppose, politeness, we will still drop the 8th one on the main channel because I don't want to insult someone to the level of, oh, well, 14 people were good enough, but you 2 won. It's a bit rude. Like,
Gotcha.
Whereas with this one, this is actually different. We've already agreed with this because we have 3 events, 12 battles, but, you know, we're going to come home with over 30 battles. Like, if some of them are below par, they're not going on the main channel because that's why we have the extra channel for. Because if a battle's shit, we won't upload it full stop. But if it's like a decent battle, but it's not quite the level of, you know what I mean, some of these other American, and I mean newbies as well, some of these other newbies are sick and they go straight on the main channel. If your tryout is not as good as tryout A, it's going to go on the extra channel. And we still have the tiny channel, Demo Battles, which is the 3rd channel, which we rarely use anymore. We've also discussed if some of them are really not on the level, we'll still upload them on that. But I mean, to be honest with you, like, unless, like, you know, unless we got a one where everybody, the 2 people are choking, like, non-stop, it's going to go on one of the 3 channels because voting it, to me, is flying all the way out here, filming 2 people and voting it. It's like, who gets anything out of that? You know? Right. And they're going to feel so bad. Oh my God, they came from England. I was so shit. They didn't put it up. Like, I don't want to do that. So.
Fair. I just want to make sure that the 2nd channel is turned up and check. The 2nd channel is good. Check. 2nd channel. That's fine. Yeah.
2, 3, and 4.
Great. Okay. Perfect. So this is 2 and 3 here, or 3 and 4, and this is 2. Cool. I just wanted to make sure that everything's happening. Yeah. We're good. So I've noticed that there's this kind of parallel between what you guys are doing with a lot of new expansions into new cities and what Grind Time was doing in the kind of like, I guess, early 2010s, around that time. And I was a fairly casual fan, just a YouTube viewer at that point, going to events and not necessarily following anybody on Twitter or going to forums and stuff. And I remember there was this time that I felt as though Grind Time was oversaturating their channel with content that either didn't include my favorite cast of characters that I'd known in the last 2 years, and then at the same time with battles that weren't up to par with that quality content. So I'm just noticing as you're starting to release these lesser known American guys, and even just known American guys in North America, are you seeing your fan base expand, or are you starting to see that your core fan base is saying, well, we're not interested in this dude from some city? Do
you know what? Surprisingly, actually, yeah, some of the core fan base are not happy about it. But as long as the majority is, it's just one of those things you have to deal with. We run a business, and as you think any business, like take fucking Coca-Cola or whatever, they release something new, they're gonna keep doing it as long as most people are feeling it and people are buying it. It's the same thing what we're doing. Like, I mean, when we first did the USA shit, probably 80% or whatever of the fans were like, this is a good progression. Like, oh great, I get to see, you know, fucking, I don't know, B Magic or someone who hasn't got a passport now. I can see all these people. But I'll be honest, maybe I was naive. I thought maybe like 100% of the fan base were going to be like, great, because obviously all of us are on the same wave of just like, expansion is great, we get one more battle. So I thought everybody was going to follow it. But it is right that some of the fan base are old school UK fans, do message us, and I get random inboxes to my personal account. I get people being like, I don't give a fuck about blah 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 versus blah blah blah, why are you doing it? And obviously I'm a bit like, all right mate, calm down. But
here's the solution: don't watch it.
Well, exactly. We've said this with loads of stuff. Like, we do different things. Even with our webcam, like, music series. Like, again, that is 95% positive. But there's some people that are just like, some people subscribe to Don't Flop and they don't give a shit about anything but battles. And they'll be like, why are you uploading music? And we're like, because most people want to see it. And if you read the comments on the videos, they're like, this is so great to see battle rappers rapping. You know what I mean? The same with USA. As long as it's 51% of people are saying this is great, I'm going to keep doing it. But when the whole fan base says stick in UK, we're not going to come out here again. Do you know what I mean? So.
Yeah. Now, so far on this tour, you've visited, not on this tour, but on all of your tours this year, Atlanta twice, and Philly once, Chicago once. That's it. And then coming up to Detroit a week from this interview, and then the week after that, DC. Now, Atlanta seems to be a real hotbed for you guys. Both of those events have really popped, and it seems like there's more and more people interested in watching that kind of environment. And Philly, there were some really strong content that came out of it, but there were also like just a lot of logistical issues getting kind of everything organized that day. So can you comment on, like, is it just like, one-offs in a city, or is it going to be like you're building these scenes in all of these cities?
I think personally, this actually relates a lot to what you said about the oversaturation. I think, like, we potentially could do events in nearly anywhere in America from the people that want to work with us. It really could be anywhere, but because of the fact we would rather build scenes, we're going to focus on a few places. Like there's about 3-4 different events I could be setting up right now, but I've said to the respective people, like, do you know what, can we just hold off on this for a while? Because, like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like,
I just want to clarify, but you're saying that, like, there are other leagues around North America that are reaching out to you saying, work with us.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm saying, I'm telling them all the same thing, that, like, this is a great idea, and I'd love to come to all these places, and there's talent, again, we could build as our own, and that's brilliant. But I don't want it to be like this thing that, because let's be honest, everybody who watches battling considers the reason Grind Time fell that they did too many pointless events. Yeah. So I'm saying that, maybe in our Detroit card, 6 out of the 8 battles are unknown, but they're all decent people who are worth building up, you know what I mean? Whereas, like, if I do randomly go to some next place in the middle of fucking, some state, it probably is going to end up, most of them are going to be shit because they're not good battlers, and they'd be big if they, So our plan is, to stick in these. Philly was speaking with Rowan last night about the next event. Our plans to do a versus event in Philly. Atlanta will always be the hotbed of it because that's where Sonny's based, and Sonny is the main thing that keeps us together. And then, I think for now that's it really. Like, I mean, I obviously places like, New York would be amazing to do an event in New York, but it's just not priority right now, and it will come, it could be 6 months, a year, 3 months, whatever. It will come when it happens, you know what I mean? Because from the turnout yesterday, I mean, we our say promotion of the Chicago event, we actually booked it 6 months ago, but I'll say our promotion of it could have been better. And to get nearly 300 people or whatever we got with like maybe subpar promoted event, it's great, and that shows me here there's a mad fan base here that isn't being tapped into. So we've already
also there's a fan base of these rappers, because as soon as Hitman tweets it out to his 50,000 followers or whatever it is.
And actually, I've got to shout out all the battlers for that, because I did notice, like, I mean, some of the URL guys, they get a bad name for not giving a fuck and just taking it for a check and whatever. But I got to give it to them. Every single guy we booked, you can say rappers don't flop seriously or whatever. Every single person we booked was posting the flyer every day. Come watch me battle. Come watch me battle. If they hadn't been posting it, we may have had 70, 80 people in there. But they all helped us pack it out. So, like, you know what I mean?
And their performances showed that they gave a shit about it. And I think a lot of it has to do with the matchups that you're making. If it's Hitman and Eurgh versus two guys that they've never heard of, then they're not interested in it. But for them, because Hitman himself was in Atlanta to see Saya Boy and John, and when he saw that, like, I think John Rhines was there interviewing for BattleRap.com, and Hitman looked inspired. He was like, I want to do this. I called up, Verb immediately and said, like, let's get it.
Off camera, he was loving it. This is what I mean. So somewhere like Atlanta, like, why it would make no sense to just say, yo, Sonny, do you know what? Thanks for the help. Peace. Like, clearly people want to come to Atlanta. It's a really respected, cool city with a lot going on. It makes nothing but sense for us to stick there, and, Sonny's reliable as fuck. Like, that's our base. And I said, people want to come, and take someone like Chicago. You got St. Louis that really isn't that far away. So every time we come to Chicago, in theory, I can book Verb, Hitman. Oops was there yesterday. Oops was hitting me up all day. Yo, when you gonna book me? Which I can get Oops down, I can get Remy D, I can get all these people. It's not that far. So Chicago's another place. Like, clearly instead of being like, okay, well, I've done Chicago, now I'm gonna go to Kansas, where it doesn't make any sense. Like, I might as well wait a couple months, come back here, build up a fan base here. And I said, Philly, as you said, Philly was a difficult event. The event was quite stressful, and it was like,
There's just a lot of cancellations or
Yeah,
people not
just-
showing up on time, and
And you know there was the infamous 3-hour break between the battles, which I was nearly went into a long depression because of that break, and but at least again the fans came out for it. There's a lot of talent in Philly there's people in Philly that haven't battled for ages that are hitting us up saying,
Amazing.
when you gonna book me, and I'm like, yo, ASAP.
Who?
So I'd say for now it would be.
who's hitting you up in Philly?
Well, speaking of Cicero, I mean he's now actually booked. Funnily enough, the battle that we were gonna book, and I said I can't book it right now. Someone else booked, which I honestly think is great because it means he's now coming back. So Cicero, what's he called? An NH, and yeah. I spoke to him at the event very briefly. There's about 2 others I forgot their names, but because I don't know everyone from Battle Rap, but there's actually a couple people that were there that I didn't know. The people then came up to me and were like, "Yo, you need to book him. He's crazy. Like he's a legend out here." So I was like, "All right, cool." So the next Philly event is gonna be. This one was more of a just like let's bring people from everywhere, but I feel like when we go back to Philly, it will be a.
Right, homegrown.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a kind of like 8 battles, and it would be Philly versus whatever. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
kind of a theme or whatever. So
Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the upcoming. Let's talk about the upcoming 6 months for Don't Flop. You've got the major UK event. Tell me a little bit about how the birthday is going down this year.
Okay. So we've got a lot of interest so far, like a load of interest in this. We have. Shotty will be battling. Lunacy will hopefully be battling. Nothing's locked in, but Lunacy will hopefully be battling.
Each other.
No, that I can categorically say that will not be happening, which I think is fine. I honestly think that's fine. If they don't want to battle each other, cool. Please leave them alone. Let them chill. So Shotty,
Were we talking
won't be
about?
battling.
Yeah. Were you and I talking about this, or it might have been someone else when we were walking around? But it kind of designates the end of an era for the 2 of those guys to finally face off, and there's still. Lunar, I think, is back at the top of his game. He was fire against O'Shea, and Shotty is always Shotty. And so to have the 2 of them finally battle, it's like, cool, what next? There's no biggest battle ever, you know?
Yeah, I can honestly say that in my heart of hearts, think that one day it will happen. I'm not even saying it will happen on Don't Flop because there's nothing saying that the Pepsi or Red Bull will come along and won't say, I'll give you 50 grand each to battle. Shotty Horror vs Lunacy at some point, I'd say in the next 3 years, will probably go down. Maybe on Don't Flop, maybe not. It's just one of those things that, like, I think the less people like harass them, the more chance of it happening. You know what I mean? I know them both like personally, and I'm telling you, like, one of the main reasons it probably won't happen is because people are on their case 24/7 telling them bow. So for our birthday personally, like Shotty will 100% be there, Luna will 90% be there. As far as internationals, Charlie Clips is interested. I know DNA and K-Shine want to battle Marlo and Shuffle T, which is amazing. And they both, it's mutual, so that's basically confirmed.
Okay. Titles match.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I don't know, but I think Shuffle T and Marlo, I think they want to do it for the title. So fucking cool. Who else? 100 Bullets, I'm sure we'll bring back because the crowd love him. Probably Sharon. Pat Stay, I've been talking to Pat Stay. I think it's finally time that he's going to debut. Who else?
Title match? Not with Pat Stay, just like in general?
There will be one, but we have no idea who it will be. I really don't know who it will be. It depends, like, what month are we now? June. So we have a big event in August, so I'd say that realistically, like, we probably need to have some kind of battle in August that's like the winner of this is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I at the moment when we put these statuses out, who do you think should get the title? There's such a like.
There's no clear number one contender.
People are saying Gemini and he's done 2 fucking battles or whatever.
Right.
People say Dialect. They say Okmios. People say, oh, it should be someone like Impact who's putting loads of work. People say everyone like. So I think we.
Can you do a tournament? How come you guys don't do tournaments that much anymore?
Because I feel like when you do tournaments, you end up with like 2nd round and 3rd round battles that like you don't really want on the channel.
Yeah.
We've always been under an agreement since our last tournament. They're great, don't get me wrong, they're pretty exciting. But since our last tournament, we've just been like, well, they're all right. The first round's always sick because you're like, oh, perfect. Then it goes on and you're just a bit like, I don't know if this is really...
Potential rematches, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for now, I feel like we should just pick the 2 most popular people and be like, right, this is a judge battle. We'll get 5 of the best judges. Bang, bang. The winner of you 2 battles Soul. Because Soul needs to battle someone, and Soul is keen to battle anyone we give to him. But it needs to be someone who's earned it. And right now, it's like, I don't know, like, who's earned it, who hasn't. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't know what you feel about it, but I don't know who.
I think,
What
like,
do you think?
I think Ogmios, but I won't say that that's like the most exciting title match.
Yeah.
I just think that his quality has been so high for such a long time,
Yeah,
and that it's kind of an interesting. I think I'd like to see what kind of content they would craft for each other. I think it'd be a very entertaining battle, but it's not. There's no history behind them, and they're both very, agreeable, level-headed people. So I don't know. It's tough, and there is the possibility of you just get Soul a great international and wait until another the heir apparent has emerged, and then.
I mean, I don't think these title matches need to be every 3 months, every 2 weeks away. Like I actually, what you just said, I feel like if we don't go ahead with this number 1 contender idea, like I would be more than happy to give. Even in UK, we could give Soul some UK guy that's not title worthy, but Soul's just like, I want to battle, because Soul is amazing at battling, and he's a great champion. And it's true. It's like maybe we shouldn't just throw someone at him within 4 months of him winning, just because it's the birthday, everyone has to defend. No, you don't have to defend it at the birthday. Maybe we should just let him chill for a bit. So right now it could be, I'm weighing up whatever, but we'll see what happens over the next 2 months.
Now that we're at the 6-month mark of the year, let's look back at the grand scheme of battle rap. Who would you say are the top 5 MCs in the world right now?
Oh, battlers in the world. Wow. That is so difficult.
And the reason I ask is because I think Soul is in there easily.
I mean, Soul is an obvious one because let me tell you why Soul should be in there. Because he is the versatility, which is a word that gets thrown around about everybody, but versatility is like the fact that he can be intelligent without being pretentious about it. You know what I mean? Like he can make a joke and the punchline will be like, but bruv, and it's cool. And then the next line will be some reference to like Shakespeare or whatever. So I'd say Soul, but I mean, honestly, apart from that, I mean, I don't know. Do you know who really impressed me? I'd say what he really, really impressed me in his last battle, Chilla Jones. Honestly, because he took the math battle on such short notice and he killed it. And he wasn't corny, and he didn't rap about he didn't do 32 bars on you got punched. He just rapped, you know what I mean? Yeah. And he killed the Bullets battle as well. So I say Chilla, and
conceded.
Conceded, exactly. Conceded. So right now, maybe a year ago, I probably wouldn't have said this, but I'd say now Chilla's probably in my top 5. Who on URL?
I think there's a case. We'll see what happens with K-Shine's next 2 performances. He's got Marv and Quest in the 2-on-2 with DNA next week, and then him versus Dose the week after, which I'm looking forward to a lot. But I think that he's potentially in that conversation. He killed it in Atlanta in the 2-on-2. He had one of the best battles of the night against Mr. Wavy at Rookies versus Vets.
Do you know what? Don't want to cut you off before it goes out of my head. Pedro, 100% Pedro. And I'm not just saying that because he's don't flop. If we're talking about top battlers in the world, fan backing and believing in you has to be
one biggest breakout of 2015.
I'm sorry. Right now, I'd say, as far as impressive battlers, Pedro is really up there because he has gone...
Thesaurus, Sharon?
And he's,
who else?
I mean, I've already got a couple more freestyle battles for him in the works, but I don't know if they're going to happen. But yeah, I'd say him because he deserves to be in the top 5 because he totally different reason to Soul. He deserves it because he is stuck at what he's doing. Since 2011, 4 years, he has done nothing but spit the same shit the same way. He has never changed for any of the fans, and finally, everybody is like, "Oh my God, Pedro is the best battler in the world." So, yeah, he's got to be in there. Maybe Americans and Canadians might not feel it, but for me, he's in there.
I remember seeing Pedro versus Npose at World Domination 4 in Toronto on day 3. It was a strange battle, and I wasn't that familiar with him, and I didn't know his style or what to look for to appreciate in it. And I just remember him ending and being like, did he just have a closer about iguanas?
Yeah.
And people were like, I think so. It's like, that's weird. And I never went back and watched the footage once I understood what Pedro was all about.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's unmined gold in that battle somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, So anybody else? There's so many people active at the moment. I mean, I don't know who's the last person. The last person.
I think Roan's in the conversation for sure.
Yeah, I mean, as far as again, another aspect is what's the way? What relatability or whatever? Like, I suppose Roan, has the Big T battle. His last Don't Flop
The
battle.
thesaurus battle.
Yeah, and the daylight battle. I mean, even though I suppose it wasn't a battle, it's a monologue. But the daylight monologue, the actual writing of it was insane.
And he went totally viral against Big T as the hard-hitting poet too.
Okay, do you know what? Like, me personally, he's only battled once this year, but Ines, like, I'm sorry, I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Ines is a fucking G. like he doesn't really battle that much, so it might be bad to put him in that. But like, I don't know. His
comeback was, people had written him off completely, and it's huge.
We never did. Like, we would only league. When we discussed, people need to understand this. When we discussed booking Ines versus Bill Collector, not one member of the team was like, his DNA battle was kind of shaky. Every member was like, yes, do it. Because I was like, should I email Ines? Or I was like, is this really too off-key and left of field? Like, have I got this completely wrong that Ines might kill it against Bill Collector? We agreed, and he did. So, like,
lit up that room. It was crazy.
He killed it. Like, so, like, maybe if I would like to this year get him in one more Don't Flop battle. It might not happen, you know what I mean? But personally, I'd love to get Ines back again. Bill Collector as well. I'd say Ines probably took the battle overall, but Bill Collector did what he did in the battle. Do you know what I mean? Tech 9, it was great to see Tech 9 back as well.
Agreed.
And do you know what? Even, to be honest, like, even Shotgun Suge at his, I mean, maybe his only battle he had this year, but Shotgun Suge's
had a few. He just battled Oops last week.
Oh, yeah,
It was a UW event. He battled the Saga at Rookies versus Vets.
That's what I was gonna say. As far as Rookies versus Vets, that was probably my favorite performance. That's the one that I left the event with it in my head. I felt like, because what I like in battling, as I've said to you, I think before, is like, what I like is I'm not really, even though I say I fuck with people like Chiller or whatever, mainly I don't really like the extended metaphor scheme thing. It's not really for me. So Suge at Rookies vs Vets was like, that was my shit. That maybe was one of my favorite performances of the year, because he just, like, there was just no attempt at being deep or anything. He was just like, you are a dickhead, like, and he was just shoving him around. Like, I loved that shit so much. Like, so yeah, there's a lot of people have been killing it. We've got a couple newcomers in Don't Flop that have literally only had 2 battles that I think by this time next year, like we were talking about Raptor Gemini last year, there's been a couple new ones this year that I'm like, damn. I
know you've been pushing Juan these days.
Yeah, he's a G. Juan, a guy called Craft D.
Yeah, the Live Winter performance was really strong. That's the only one I've seen of his.
And I was gonna say Live Winter as well. Like, I wouldn't say I wouldn't say that Liv Winter is like there yet by any shape or form. She's not there yet, but I'd say maybe another.
She's the best active female in Don't Flop.
I mean, probably one in. I mean, it is. There's not. I don't watch too many female battles, and like I like quite a few. I like that Tori Doe. I like Tori. I like Jazz, whatever. But I'd say Liv is really up there. She's got her own personality. She's very true to herself. Like, what she raps about is the same shit she'll talk about in person, which I think is a great aspect to have. Yeah. So again, maybe like Liv, Craft D, Juan is brilliant. A guy called Heretic. He's only had a couple battles. Heretic, very, very good. Again, his writing. He's only 18 as well, which obviously makes me rate him a lot higher.
So one final question. You've been doing this for a decade. Is that about right?
When you say this, what do you mean?
This interview. It feels like we've been here all day.
We've been here for a while.
But battle rap in general, like, you know, you've been running the league for 6 or 7 years.
No, I've been battling since 2007, so it's 8 years. 8 years, yeah. And doing Don't Flop 6, so 6 and 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's still longer than most.
Too long.
Yeah.
Look at me. I don't look 26. I look fucking 56. You know what I mean?
But the question is, like, after seeing all of this stuff, all of these people come and go, all of the politics, all the, you know, the often bullshit that comes with all this stuff, like, are you still inspired? Are you still having fun?
Honestly, not as much. Not as much because of that. Of just constant, like, honestly, it's got to the point where not one day goes by where there's not at least one message in my inbox on my phone that, you know what I mean, winds me up a lot. So yeah, it's not. I'm not like, you can tell anyone who's followed Don't Flop for long enough and has known me for long enough definitely knows that, like, I'm not the same, like, naive, like, jumpy battler I was. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm
wide-eyed, short-haired.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this hair hides my pain. You know what I mean? Like, my pain of being involved in the scene. Like, no, I mean, yeah, I am not the same person. I am a different person now because of daily having to deal with somebody needs $10 for this, or somebody, oh, well, can you book my train for this, even though you know, it's like, it's all minuscule problems you deal when you're a battle rap promoter. Like, you deal with, it's never something that big, you know what I mean? We had a big problem, like, you know, someone a while ago, like, missed the flight to the UK and we had to pay another flight. That's a big problem, you know what I mean? But usually the little problems that if I told you them all, you'd be like, that's nothing. But after 6 years of them every single day, it's like, all right, fuck off.
That's lifer. That's life.
But and do you know what? You are not the first person to tell me. Well, I sit there with people and they're like, how you feeling about Don't Flop? And I'm like, do you know what? I love it, but blah, 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 blah. And everybody is just like, welcome to the world. Like, and of all the bullshit that comes along with it, I would honestly say that, like, I always still give thanks at the end of the day that the easiest way to say it is that, like, every, let's say, new pair of trainers I buy or whatever, is bought with my own money, you know what I mean? It's not that somebody else has paid me or I've had to beg for it or whatever. Like, anything that I buy, it's my money I'm spending on it, do you know what I mean? And whenever I get too pissed off, and I talk to my friends about it, and I'll be honest, with this American expansion, obviously more stresses came, so maybe more frequently I've been like, yo, battle rap is fucking long, you know, it's hard. And everyone's still like, but remember that you're not having to answer to somebody else, you know what I mean? And you don't have to, like, suck up to somebody or whatever. You just do what you want to do, and maybe, yeah, you get a couple of Facebook messages saying, I need a mega bus for this time, I need this, but I'm in a better position than a lot of people, you know what I mean? So, and I love it, like, being out here yesterday, the event in Chicago yesterday, you know, during especially the Averb, Hitman, DNA, K-Shine 2-on-2, it's one of those moments, you know, like Quill was grabbing me, pushing me, whispering in my ear, it's like, bro, this is your shit, you know what I mean? And he was being like, you need to be proud, you set this up, this is your shit, all you lot are the reason this is going down, you're the reason these people are here. And it was those moments I'm like, you know what, maybe a couple moody WhatsApp messages and stuff, I can handle it, and that's how I feel at the moment. And maybe next week, maybe Detroit will be shit and I'll be like, fuck battle rap. But for the moment, I love it. So, and it's tough, and it's like, it's like stressful, but you know, as you said, any job in the real world is stressful and not easy. And if you want to make money, you got to put the work in, and that's what I intend to continue doing. So,
I think that's a good place to end it.
Yeah, man.
Rowan Fife? What's your last name?
Fife.
Fife.
Do you know what? Someone said it in a battle yesterday. Everybody says it Faith, and somebody in a battle yesterday said Rowan Fife, and I was like, oh,
and the crowd was like, who's that?
Do you know what? I want to give myself some props. A couple people knew. Because I'm not going to let you say no one knew. There was a couple faces in the crowd were like, that's you! And I was like, yeah, you know. And the actual punchline wasn't too bad. Of all the Eurgh, Rowan, Faith, all the bullshit punchlines I've heard, the guy said something like, I'm so good that they got something like I've got them all calling me Jesus in battles like Rowan, as in, like, because all the comments on YouTube are like, Eurgh's like Jesus. I was like, you know what? That's actually quite a good bar. And you said my name right. Gold star.
Who said it?
Rusty Chains. Rusty Chains, another newcomer that I think could be good. Especially though he said my name right. Might get him that Lux battle. So that's it.
We'll end it there. BattleRap.com. Boom. This is part 2 of the interview. Eurgh, or whoever's editing this, thank you very much. Here we go.